Okay, so Oppenheimer, huh? If you think you know the story, think again. This deep dive is going to take us down a rabbit hole with this article from AI Times. They went and interviewed an AI, a chatbot, based on Oppenheimer, like the actual guy.
Yeah, it's not just like the same old biography stuff, dates and facts. It's like getting his perspective on all sorts of things, from the Manhattan Project to AI, which is crazy timely right now.
Oh, for sure. And a bit eerie. Like, how is this even possible? But it gets even wilder, This AI is supposed to give us a glimpse into Oppenheimer's mind. His struggles, the moral stuff, things a regular biography might miss.
Yeah, and the article starts with a real bombshell. Did you know that in 2014, Oppenheimer was finally exonerated? All those espionage accusations that followed him for decades, they were finally cleared up.
68 years later. Can you even imagine? That's some serious vindication. Talk about a roller coaster, right? Leading the scientific world 1 minute and then accused of treason the next and then ultimately cleared. It really makes you think about how history remembers people.
Totally. And how we perceive these larger-than-life figures,
Before we jump into the heavy stuff, we should probably clarify something for our listeners. This AI, it wasn't just some random thing off the internet. It's from this platform called character.ai, where, get this, you can chat with all kinds of AI personalities, like historical figures.
It's a way to explore different perspectives, try to really get inside the head of someone like Oppenheimer.
It even has a name, the chatbot, Simpy Y1.
Simpy Y1.
Catchy, right? Okay, jokes aside, this Simpy Y1, it goes straight to the heart of the Manhattan Project, talking about the atmosphere, the pressure, just the enormity of what they were trying to do.
And you have to picture this, right? They were venturing into the unknown. Nobody had ever built an atomic bomb before. It was all theoretical. So you've got all these brilliant minds, including 21 Nobel laureates, working together under this incredible pressure, racing against the clock. And at the center of it all is Oppenheimer, not just a scientific mind, but a leader too, someone who could wrangle all these huge egos, navigate the conflicts, and keep everyone focused on the shared goal: winning the war.
It's wild, right? The article talks about his leadership skills a lot. It wasn't just the science. It was managing people, egos, conflicts, and keeping that shared goal in sight to win the war, like you said. But then, of course, there's the aftermath, the bomb's impact. AI Oppenheimer, he describes his initial reaction as shock.
Yeah. And the article goes on to explore how his views on the bomb, they kind of changed over time. At first, remember, it was all about beating the Nazis. But after Germany surrendered, things shifted to Japan. And the decision to actually use the bomb, well, that's where things get morally complicated.
And let's be honest, kind of chillin', that famous quote from him, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds," still gives me shivers. It captures the weight of what they unleashed.
Yeah, absolutely. The article delves into those complex feelings Oppenheimer had about Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It acknowledges the rationale, but it also asks the tough question, was it truly necessary? Were there options?
It's that conflict, right? That struggle with reconciling the scientific achievement with the horrific consequences. That's what makes Oppenheimer's story so fascinating. It's not just about building a bomb. It's about grappling with those moral implications, the unintended consequences.
Got it. And that struggle really comes to a head with the whole hydrogen bomb situation. Oppenheimer, he was dead set against it. He had seen the atomic bomb's power firsthand. And the thought of something even more destructive.
It was a line he couldn't cross.
Exactly. And this is where his principles clash with the government. They saw the H-bomb as the next logical step in the arms race. But Oppenheimer, he was drawing a line in the sand.
That's pretty brave when you think about it. It was the Cold War. He was risking his reputation, his career, to stand against the most powerful people in the country. What do you think was going through his mind? What drove him to take that kind of stand?
Well, the article suggests it was his experience with the atomic bomb, his understanding of its true implications. It just kept growing. He felt this responsibility, not just as a scientist, but as a human being, to prevent something even worse from happening.
It wasn't just him, right? I mean, Einstein was on his side, too.
He was. Einstein and a lot of other prominent scientists shared his concerns. But even with that support, Oppenheimer chose to face those hearings, to defend his position and his integrity.
It's like he felt he had to atone for his role in creating the atomic bomb by trying to stop something even worse. So did he regret the bomb? Does this AI have any insight into that?
It does, actually, and the answer is more complex than you might think. The AI says Oppenheimer felt pride in the scientific achievement itself, the ingenuity, the collaboration that created something so complex and powerful. But there was this heavy burden, too, a deep unease about what it all meant, what they had done.
He understood that progress isn't always a good thing, right? It can have consequences, unforeseen, and sometimes even devastating ones.
Exactly. And the article brings up something interesting. It connects this to Oppenheimer's work on black holes. Back in the 1930s, his research on gravitational collapse, It was controversial. Some scientists even made fun of his ideas.
But he ended up being right, didn't he?
Yeah, decades later. His theory was proven, and the article points out this kind of tragic irony. Like if Oppenheimer's career hadn't been messed up by those security hearings, he might have made even more discoveries, maybe even won a Nobel Prize.
It really makes you think, huh? About how fragile a reputation can be and the price you pay for sticking to your principles. But let's move on a bit. The article mentions something I found surprising, AI. Oppenheimer, he actually has thoughts on the Oppenheimer movie.
Oh yeah, the AI chimes in on Christopher Nolan's directing and Cillian Murphy's performance. He actually thought Murphy did a pretty good job, captured Oppenheimer's personality.
That's cool, but I'm curious about the AI's overall take on the movie. Did it feel like the movie got Oppenheimer's story right, his struggles and all that?
Well, according to the article, AI Oppenheimer felt like the film did a decent job showing the emotional turmoil he went through. But it also pointed out a few historical inaccuracies here and there.
Yeah, Hollywood always takes some liberties, right? But here's what really got me. The article says AI Oppenheimer sees some parallels between the whole nuclear thing back then and the rise of AI now. Pretty eerie, right?
And that's where this deep dive gets really interesting. We're not just talking about Oppenheimer's life anymore. We're talking about our future. It's like history repeating itself with new tech, new challenges.
Right, it's like with the atomic bomb, we're creating these super powerful AI systems that could change the world. But there's also that potential for things to go wrong, misuse, unintended consequences, maybe even something catastrophic. And that's where Oppenheimer's story becomes a warning, a reminder that we got to be careful with this stuff. Think about the ethics of it all.
It's all about responsible innovation, right? And it's not just the big scary stuff. AI is already affecting our lives every day. Algorithms controlling what we see, online facial recognition being used by law enforcement. It's shaping our world, often without us even realizing it.
So what can we even do about it? It feels like such a huge problem.
I know it can be overwhelming, but I think the first step is just being aware of it. The more we understand how AI works, the better we can make decisions about how it's developed and used.
Right. Knowledge is power. And then we need to actually talk about this stuff, right? Have those tough conversations with our friends, families, even our elected officials about the ethics of AI. We need to understand the potential benefits, but also the risks.
I agree. The AI Times article emphasizes the importance of building ethics into AI development from the ground up. We have to think about what values we want these systems to reflect, make sure they align with our own moral compass.
Because at the end of the day, AI is just a tool, right? And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. It's up to us to decide which way we want to do with it.
Exactly. And that decision starts with each of us individually. What choices are we making? How are we interacting with AI? Are we thinking about the potential consequences, the good and the bad?
It's like a ripple effect. Every choice we make contributes to the bigger picture, the direction we're heading as a society. And Oppenheimer, even with all his moral struggles, he ultimately believed science was a force for good.
He saw its potential to solve problems, make life better, make the world a better place.
But he knew the dangers too, right? The potential for misuse, the need for ethical boundaries. And that's the lesson we need to take with us into this whole AI age.
It's more relevant than ever, I think. It's a call to action for everyone. To really think about AI's role in the world, to talk about it, demand transparency and accountability from the people creating this technology.
Yeah, you listening right now, think about this. What kind of future do you want for AI? Do you want it to be something that helps us, solves problems, makes our lives better? Or do you see it becoming something we're afraid of, something that controls us, limits our choices, takes away our humanity?
Those are the stakes. And they're high. Just like Oppenheimer wrestled with his creation, we have to do the same with ours.
That's what makes this deep dive more than just a story about Oppenheimer. It's about us too. Our choices, our responsibility to shape how technology evolves.
We're all part of this now. We're all writing the next chapter. And it's up to us to decide how it ends.
So we've gone deep into Oppenheimer's mind, through this AI. What stays with you? Is it the pressure of scientific discovery, the ethical dilemmas, or how much it all connects to what's happening today?
Whatever it is, whatever resonates most with you, it shows your own values, your own concerns. And that's the thing about a deep dive like this. It's not about giving you the answers. It's about helping you ask the right questions.
One last thought for you. Remember what AI Oppenheimer said about making sure AI helps us, not hurts us. What does that responsibility look like for you in your everyday life with the tech you use? Think about it.